Shall we dive into this crazy episode?
Yeah, this was a lot. One of my favorite episodes, though. It's funny.
Really?
Yeah,
God.
Lennox Morissette's there. I don't know. It's fun.
Yes, I know. That was one. That was so random. This episode's called Boy, Girl, Boy, Girl.
Mhm.
So Charlotte at her gallery, she has an opening for an exhibit called Drag Kings. It's a photographer taking pictures of women in drag or women dressed as men, however you want to call it.
You know, women dressing like men is very popular right now.
It's like even those like little empty
Right now. Like,
what's that
what?
even mean?
I don't know.
God. So yeah, they're all kind of debating like, what is this? What are we looking at? And the photographer, was a man, says, I feel we as people have dual powers within us. Gender is an illusion. And as he says this, he's also like very much flirting with Charlotte. Later, we see him trying to like coax her into posing for him. And, you know, he begs her to, quote, be a man. And she ends up doing the shoot. She gets dressed up like a man. And like while in drag, she like grows the balls to actually like be bold and like come on to him. So that was Charlotte this episode. Miranda, that's really it. Miranda, she comes home and Steve is in the apartment already. Clearly he has a key. He's watching sports, eating takeout, just like very comfortable here, right?
Yes. Yeah. Another like, is it a gender switch kind of thing that they're kind of doing?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's true.
You know?
Usually it's the girl like leaving her toothbrush or leaving her underwear, like leaving things around.
Yeah. He left himself around, girl.
The slopes got clothes everywhere. So we see she's obviously uncomfortable with this. He asks her for a drawer.
Actually, I'd like to move in. We have a great time together. We're practically living together anyway.
Miranda obviously freaks out. This is like not
Yeah. She just purchased this apartment. This is her apartment.
her apartment. And she's like, we just got back together. This is moving too fast. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so he like gets up in the middle of the night, storms out and says to her, quote, it's like you're a guy sometimes. So Miranda now is like in a tizzy. She's talking to Carrie. She's like, why can't I be like a girly girl? Like, what's wrong with me?
I think in any relationship, one person's the alpha dog, the one that's in charge. That's you.
So like that's her way of like explaining what's going on with Steve. Miranda then invites Steve over. She's gonna cook him for dinner, and she just like is a mess. She's overwhelmed by the whole thing and like totally breaks down. And later he moves in. Like,
Yeah. Steve gets what he wants.
he gets what he wants.
Uh-huh.
She clearly like benefits, I think, in ways of like having him around and
Yeah.
you know, being a good support to her. Samantha gets a hot new young assistant. They just like have sex. I don't really know there's much there.
Yeah.
Now Carrie, meanwhile, is dating a man named Sean. He's 26. We come into the episode. It seems like they've been seeing each other for a little bit. He asks her when her last relationship was, and she says it was a while ago. There's a lot of, 2-year situationship, basically. He shares that he was with a woman and then a woman before that, and then he was with a man. So he's bisexual. At brunch, Carrie is like beside herself. I don't know what to do about this.
Like, yeah. What do I do about this man from 8 years ago?
Yeah. She says she dated a bisexual guy in college and they all just want to end up with men anyways.
I'm not even sure bisexuality exists. I think it's just a layover on the way to Gay Town.
Yep. Oh, boy.
This scene was wild. Like they were just
Yeah.
Miranda called bisexual people greedy, double dipping. Charlotte, just pick a side already. It's just wild.
This is wild. This used to be really the attitude around bisexual people for
Yes.
so long.
Yeah. And Samantha, thankfully we had Samantha whose voice was just like, I don't care about labels. Like we needed somebody to be there to be like, fuck labels. So Carrie, of course, is now wondering, with all this, as she says, sexual flipping, is this the new wave of the future? And has the opposite sex become obsolete now that people are dating same sex or whatever?
Yep.
So we see her. She goes out with Sean. They go to this little downtown club. She's like paranoid that he's checking out every guy that walks by.
Every man. Yeah.
And then later they go back to her place. They have sex. And even after sex, she's still pestering him.
If there was this really good-looking guy walking towards you, and across the street was a really beautiful girl, which one?
Hey, Carrie, come on. Could you stop making this all about sex? It's not, it's about the person.
Chill
This
on
is
that.
the other thing that bisexual people are hypersexual. because they're bisexual. There's
Yeah.
another kind of undertone of this episode.
Undertone of it.
It was
Yeah.
one that is still rampant, I think. It's still with bisexual
Yes. And then, later that week, he brings her to his ex-boyfriend's new boyfriend's birthday, I think it was, or some type of party. And while she's there, she meets the new boyfriend's ex-wife, who is Alanis Morissette. Love her.
Yeah, love her.
She looks
I think
so
I've seen
young.
her before.
What do you mean seen her before?
I think I've seen her before in New York. I think it was
like
her.
out in person.
I think I've seen her at the
cool.
Duane Reade.
Oh my God, I used to love Alanis Morissette. In the 90s.
She's still a staple, I think.
Is she?
Love that lady.
No, what she's been up to.
Me either. I think she did what we all say what we would do, which is sit down and be rich.
Sit down and be rich, yeah.
Yeah, I think she did that. But I'm pretty sure I saw her. She was like 4 foot nothing.
Oh my God.
And she had really long hair. And I was like, is that fucking Alanis Morissette? We were circling each other around that Duane Reade. I was like, is that you?
Oh my God. She was like the coolest back in the 90s. I thought she was so
like
fucking
Gwen
cool.
Stefani. She was like a cool white
God.
girl, right?
Cool white girl with a gorgeous voice. Who, she was just like cool. I don't know. She just like did her own thing, I guess. Like even just the way
Beautiful
she dressed.
too.
Yeah, beautiful lyricist. The way she dressed, like very 90s. I don't know how to describe, like 90s, not grunge or even punk, just like
maybe
big t-shirts and baggy jeans. Boho grunge, yeah, like a little cross section, folk, like not even folksy. I don't know what to call this shit, but she had her own little lane. I just thought she was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And she had awesome music videos too.
She did.
Iconic music videos. That fucking music video where she's in the back of the car and there's like 4 of them in the car and it's like different personalities of her. Is that ironic? What was that music video?
Oh my God, that one was so good.
God. That was like on MTV rotation. Like,
yep.
It was ironic. Yes.
It was ironic.
That music video was playing all the fucking time. And then you would like pick which one was your favorite of the like 4 in the car.
Of the 4.
They all had like different colors. Oh, I loved it.
Man, that was my Fiona Apple. My Fiona Apple was my cool girl. She still is. What?
Okay. Yeah.
One.
Yeah, they were like, they were around at the same era, right? Fiona Apple and I just think of MTV, such an MTV like generation. Those two. Anyways. She meets Alanis Morissette, his ex-wife, who's now married to another woman, and Carrie's like, oh my God, what is this? Like and so it's another thing. Like, okay, so they play spin the bottle. Alanis lands on Carrie. Carrie like barely kisses her back and is like in her head, like, oh my God, I'm such an old fart. And she like chalks up a lot of this to being like old.
Yes, to being old.
Yeah, she's a square and she's old and she just like leaves the party and is like, I'm just too old for these young people and they're like fluid sexual likeness or whatever. She like, can't even describe it.
Yeah.
And that was the episode. So, all right, let's dive into this discussion. So, Carrie's question, has the opposite sex become obsolete? I kind of want to start there. So, this question for the episode was asked in relation to sexual orientation, sexuality becoming more fluid, so we seem in the early 2000s. But I think this conversation is happening today in a very different lens, which is very interesting. It's the same question, but like we're approaching it very differently.
Serious, like really serious.
A lot serious, yeah. So I think today, has the opposite sex become obsolete is more so a question of, for talking strictly heteronormative relationships, the value of men today to women, now in a society where women are financially providing for themselves. Like, what is the value that men provide for us then? What do you think of this? Like, have men become obsolete? What do we say to this?
Oh my God, that's so sad to say. Absolutely
I know.
not. Men are not obsolete. That's so mean. But it's, it's valid for a lot of women who are out dating, haven't found their person, and are also, unfortunately, scrolling through being entertained and watching 85 movies an hour, right? Like as we're watching and watching all these stories and really finding community in other women who are finding this kind of this same scenario, right? Which is they're finding emotionally bankrupt men all over the place. And so in that case, the conversation of men being useless is now coming to something very serious, that now I see where men feel threatened, because now women are talking about raising kids with their best friend. Now women are talking about, like, I've seen now in my feed a lot of, obviously, like, women who are around my due date, right? Like posing and stuff. And I'm seeing a lot of solo moms. I'm just doing it by myself, and I'm like 40 and I look 28.
Yeah. And it's not rare. Like, we all kind of know it. All of us know at least one woman.
At least one.
At least one. Yeah.
At least in this side of the country, right? That's another part of it.
Right. True. Where we're at.
You know, if I would love to know where you're from, if you know a parent who's choosing to be single.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the South, this is probably still looked down upon. And in obviously the tri-state area and out in LA and stuff, it's like, oh, you're doing it by yourself, cool. Like, who's your birthing partner? Like, you know, like,
sperm donor or friend? Like,
and so in that case, it's so much more serious, because now we're starting families without them. That is really serious.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's wild what's happening. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I see where they feel threatened.
Yeah, I totally get
that. So that's upsetting. I see it now more than before.
Yeah, the threat of it all. Yeah, and it not being like this this rare thing. The fact that it is, like, I can name a few women in my life alone that have done a fertility journey involving just themselves, different types of journey, but like no partner, right? And I think also women, as far as men being obsolete, this question, for eons, women like needed to be mothers. And even now, many women are choosing to be child free and like finding purpose outside of being a mother, or outside of even being a wife to somebody, you know, or even if they are a wife to somebody, they're just like doing their own thing and not needing to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing when you get married, you know? Like the purpose of what marriage is, like to create a family, quote unquote. And they're like kind of just like doing their own thing. And so, I feel like, you could definitely see the threat more. I think women also, I think another thing you see a lot more too, women who have always considered themselves heterosexual are now open to same-sex relationships or relationships with non-binary individuals in a way that we definitely did not see, I would think, in the early 2000s, whenever this was. And it's just interesting that I feel as if the patriarchy has attempted to set up a system that makes women, kind of the basis of patriarchy is like women are second-class citizens. We are to be dependent on men. And as we've broken free of these chains by working inside of the house, becoming educated, discussing our options with each other, breathing into our agency to like design the life that we want to design, I think many of us are finding a life of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness without men, and realizing that it is possible. And that's what's really scary. That to men, that threat that like, oh, they are like literally just like skip to Maloo away without us, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that men are obsolete, because for a lot of women who still want to find a partner or want to have kids and do it that traditional way, like they still need a man, right? But the fact that there are alternatives that exist, it's like that the existence of those alternatives is what makes you really question.
We're so happy with them, right?
And we're very many of us are very pleased with those alternatives.
Nobody's judging you if you don't want kids.
You're not being judged.
Nobody's judging you if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna like do this with my sister. I'm just gonna do this with my friend. I'm just gonna like do this, whatever. It sounds good, girl. Save your money, pool it together. Like, it just sounds so realistic to so many other women, and they're not being judged within our own communities in the same way that if men chose to raise a baby with their best friend, it would be all over the front page of the New York Times.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, realistic and like doable. Like, oh, I could do that. I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, what do you make of this question as far as the show goes? where they're talking about gender becoming more fluid, sexuality becoming more open, has the opposite sex, and I guess the focus on labels become obsolete.
Yeah, yeah. I am someone personally myself, I really love boxes so that I can find community. I think it's really easy to do that when you have boxes. I think that's why people who live in their boxes are so happy all the time. People who love Comic-Con, people who love being a furry, people who like they love like real specific shit are really happy in their life.
Yeah, okay.
Because they live in their box. Um, but I think even what we were talking about earlier in the pre-show, the concept of this opposition of it's just men versus women, that can feel useless in a time like now when you really shouldn't have to choose, and gender is truly a construct that if you want to fit in can be lovely, but if you don't want to fit in can also be amazing. I think of like Morphine Love Dion, our favorite drag queen, one of our favorites, is somebody who when I look at them, I'm like, oh, this embodies a non-binary person. When I look at Shea Coulee, I'm like, this embodies a non-binary person. They are choosing what they want to be on a daily basis, and it just them being able to have the choice is a really beautiful thing.
No, I agree. I think when I was thinking of Carrie's question, the context of the show, I actually appreciate that they had that photographer say the line, gender is an illusion. And then also had the character, and it's interesting, they both come from men, seemingly straight men.
Yeah.
Or not straight, I guess Sean is bisexual, but we also got a line from Sean saying to Carrie, it's not about sex, it's about the person. Like, and I think we as a maybe not society, like as a generation, I think this is kind of generational. I don't know if I would say society is here yet, but we're becoming more awoken to these truths. We're starting to free ourselves and understand gender is a social construct. We're starting to recognize now the limitations of gender and sexuality, and seeing the beauty in people kind of freeing themselves from those limitations. As someone who self-expresses for a living, and I think you would very well agree with this, as you said, like we see Morphine Love Dion, we're like, yes, we love her. Love them, probably.
Both. I think both. Yeah, because she's a drag queen. Yeah.
I'm like always going to value all people having the same ability that I do to just self-express. The same experience, that same freedom, whether it's who you love, what you want to say on this microphone, how you dress. It is such a waste of time to focus limiting people's freedoms in ways that oftentimes don't bring any harm to you at all. Like, if anything, the person next to me being open and free and whatever actually benefits me.
Yes. Agreed.
You know, that means, wow, great, I have the same freedoms if I want to do XYZ one day like them, you know?
Yep. Agreed. And I think too, realizing that gender is a construct and not being afraid of that, and knowing that you've been playing into that your whole life too, and that you're choosing to represent as a woman. I've been cosplaying as a 32-year-old woman with her own apartment since I was 5. Like, I came to my mom with a razor the day before 5th grade, and I was like, I need to shave my legs. I'm going to 5th grade. And my mom was like, no, you don't. You're going to 5th grade. When you realize that you're like cosplaying into the gender that you have been assigned to, and that's something that you've been playing into, realizing that other people have the freedom to not do so, and that they can do so outside of the gender that they were assigned to, is so it eliminates the freedom for me. I don't,
because I think in essence, it's not even realizing other people have the freedom to, realizing you too have the freedom to.
And you did.
And you did. You always did.
Yeah.
But yeah, whether you kind of stayed on the path you were on, or whether you did kind of like step outside and say, actually, I want to do things a different way. That isn't according to what my gender has assigned to me as the appropriate way to act or be or look or whatever. Yeah, it's really interesting when I don't want to go down to like a whole political route, but when you really think about the waste of time and energy that right-wing conservative folks spend on this particular topic.
Because they're doing it anyway. When you dress up your baby and you say little heartbreaker, you're doing it anyway. That is that is putting your baby into like a gender role thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're putting them into it. When you hand your son who's 8 a gun and tell him to shoot a pigeon, that is them. You're telling them to like be a man. It's the same shit.
Yeah. But that's what they're trying to protect though. They're saying that is the way.
Yeah.
They're saying what's actually crazy is allowing your son to play in makeup.
Whatever,
because that's gonna, I don't even know, he's gonna combust or something. I don't even know what they think.
He's gonna turn the whole world gay, I guess.
I don't even understand it.
I've never gone down the path. I've never gone down.
No, but it is when you sit and think about how obsessed they are with this topic and how much wasted time and energy is spent on trying to limit other people's freedom to express, to just be.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I just saw somebody said, they were like, I can't believe we going through all of this in 6 months just because some of you didn't want 7 trans athletes to like play at school. Like I literally fucking believe
I can't believe it. I cannot.
Oh my God, it's so annoying.
It's infuriating.
It's infuriating when you think
it's infuriating. Yeah.
Woo!
But people don't know what they don't know. First of all, we just watched fucking Ted Cruz not know the population of Iran. Yeah. But over here we are bombing a country. Like, and you don't know shit about it. Like,
no, you don't know what they're doing.
Let me stop.
This isn't a political podcast.
I know. Sorry. I already feel it rising.
I know. I feel the rage, and I can't go near it. I can't smoke the weed, so I can't go near it. Like, I can't do
it. The photographer also, he was an important character, honestly. I think he said the things that needed to be said. They like put it through this character. He said, I feel we have dual powers between us. Gender is an illusion. He was kind of describing why his I guess motive behind his Drag Kings exhibit. People having dual powers within us, like, does this relate to you at all? I'm asking you because I think of you, friend, as like one of my most feminine female friends. So I'm so curious your feeling of the duality, like your masculinity or gender being an illusion as it relates to you specifically.
Thanks. I think me being so feminine is an illusion. It's me creating an illusion. Like, I have just wanted to be so grown for so long. Oh my God, what it took for me to get thong underwear. It was a 2-day discussion with my whole family. Whole family. I was
your
13.
Mom, your dad, and your brother?
My mom and my dad. No, my brother wasn't involved. He was too young. And my grandma.
Like, what? And your grandma?
My drag mother extraordinaire. She, my mom and my dad, I was like, I want to start wearing a thong. Like, I need to, like, hello. We're at Macy's and I want to start wearing a thong. This is like getting ridiculous. I'm 13 and I need to.
And I totally see you too, like a head nod going, this is ridiculous, Mom. Like, I need to be wearing. Oh my God, I can't. Okay, do tell. Keep talking. This is wild.
So, my mom was like, absolutely not in the middle of the mall. Like, absolutely not. You're nuts. Like, no, this is too sexual. You're 13. You don't need a thong. This is crazy. You need to like stick with these briefs. And I was like, no, I hate them. I want the hanky panky thongs. This is back when hanky pankies were like 30 for 33. So they were like a normal kind of price-ish.
Yeah.
Now they're like 3 for 58 or some stupid shit. Now they're nuts.
Yeah.
And
oh my goodness.
I was like, no, and we sat down with my dad. My dad was like, this is too sexy. You can't. Meanwhile, I'm at all girl school, you guys. I'm at all girl school.
And nobody looking
like
at your
Pippi
booty.
Longstocking. Okay, I look so little. And I was like, no, I need this. I was like not letting up. I was like, I really need this. Like,
why did you feel like you needed it?
Because I wanted to be a woman.
So not even about like my panty lines or
Oh
like
no.
I just want. It was
maybe
just,
it
like,
was panty lines. Maybe it was panty lines in gym. It might
okay.
have been panty lines in gym class.
Panty lines in gym class at your all girls school. Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm saying. It was really that I wanted to be a woman.
You wanted to be a woman.
You know, I was fighting.
Oh
I was fighting to get my eyebrows done. I was fighting to get
Yeah.
shave my legs. I was just fighting to be a
Wow.
woman.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the next day, my grandma came with my hanky panky thumb. My drag mother.
She did.
She did.
She like slided to you on the low. Did your parents know?
Yeah, on low.
No way.
Yep.
My God, that is hilarious.
It had so little to do with the impression of what men, like any men at all. I was not around any men at all. I really just wanted to be a woman. And it felt so empowering to me.
Yeah,
like being a woman, being grown
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
I lived
Wow.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so funny. I was having totally different conversations when you were like,
imagine when you were there,
like trading Pokemon cards and shit, like not doing anything of the sort. Oh my God. Interesting. So do you feel okay, so you wanted to be a woman, you were like very I think that's like a display of like femininity, like wanting to a little girl wanting to be this grown woman and like do what grown women do, which is wear thongs, and like I know you were into makeup too, like always. So did you ever feel a connection to a masculine side at all? Or feel any of this when he's talking about these dual powers within us? Or you just really breathe into femininity and that's really it?
That's really it. It's
That's really it.
femininity.
Yeah.
To the point where one of my gay friends is like, Justine, you're so feminine, you're almost a gay man. Like, I don't even think of you as like a straight woman.
Oh my God.
You're so dipped into the idea of femininity.
Yeah.
Like you're like in the way that a lot of gay men and drag queens. That's why I think why I love drag so much.
Yeah.
Because it's capturing the idea of femininity. And the like
and performing it
and the performance of femininity that I live in every day, all the time, that I want to live in all the time.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Which is so why I have no connection to nothing masculine at all.
At all.
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was so different.
I know.
Growing up.
Tell me.
I've always been like tomboyish, like my whole life. I was my brother's like little brother. That was like always like the joke. Because we would wrestle. I would like play rough, with him. Yeah.
Oh my
I used
God,
to
scary.
live for this is before WWE, when it's WWF.
Yeah.
The Rock and my brother and I would wrestle. We'd watch fucking whatever they called it, Raw,
whatever.
like WWF Raw or whatever the fuck, with The Rock, and all the commercial breaks, we'd like be doing the fucking people's elbow on each other, like flipping, he'd be like, give me my neck and like flipping me on the bed, like what? Yes.
Oh my God.
I would be outside, like run around, hiking in the woods with my little neighborhood boy friends, and I was also just such a stark contrast to my sister. My sister was like living more your elements of like fighting with my mom. Yes, fighting for thongs, fighting for makeup, fighting to shave her legs, get her nail when the girls were getting tips. Ooh, she needed to get the tips. Like,
that was one fight I lost. Yes.
Getting her belly button ring, like so many things. Yeah. She has a belly button ring. Yeah.
That is so fabulous.
Maybe it was like when she turned 16 or something. I don't know.
That's the legal age.
Yeah. But that was like a thing, right? Like a conversation with mom and dad to do this, like this thing that is like feminine or but then the parents are kind of protecting because men and so
it crosses over to sexual.
It can be sexual, right? As a girl you're just like, I just want to get this thing, it's so fun, all the girls are doing
it's pretty.
It's pretty. So by comparison to her, I was like all the way over here, like just wearing overalls and rolling in the dirt, like literally. And then even now as an adult, like I can be feminine, I can be soft, I can dress up, do the makeup, like do, the very like surface level things, makeup and hair, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also as far as like masculine energy, like I've also always felt just like fiercely independent, opinionated, outspoken, like which are the markers of like masculinity, you know? I can like be soft, but like I'm not by nature soft, I don't think.
But you are in some ways. You cry a lot.
I do.
You have empathy for
emotional.
people. The first time we were watching DCC, Natasha cried a lot.
I did.
Yeah. We talk about how we cry a lot on this podcast a lot.
Yes, all the time. So yeah, I definitely feel like I have the dual. When he talked about the dual powers, I was like, I absolutely feel that. I think I also take a lot after my mom, who I've always looked at as like glamorous and maternal and like very feminine, but also a boss bitch, super opinionated, a fighter, like definitely masculine energy in a lot of ways. And in a lot of ways she had to be with, you know, the childhood she had to be very self-protective. A lot of times she had to be, you know, the protective older brother or father to herself, you know. I didn't need to do that for me, but I feel like I just kind of emulate some of her qualities, I guess. And so yeah, so that's my experience. And then just like even reflecting on this, I feel like it's so much easier for us women to admit to having these dual powers and not be like, oh my God, what is she? Is she like, you know, is she really a lesbian on the low or like some dumb ignorant shit, you know? Whereas for men, it's so hard for them to acknowledge the dual. It's even interesting that this episode is happening in conversation with the women, right? Because if they did an episode like this with men, it'd be a whole different thing about like, you know, is he really a man or is whatever, you know? And it just makes me really sad. Like also thinking about the pre-show about men and their uncomfortability with their feminine side and how much masculine traits are like really championed in men and in women to an extent. But feminine traits are like never really celebrated for men, only for women.
I know. And sometimes don't you think even they're taken advantage of by men? I'm thinking specifically of Tom Sandoval and his white nails.
God. Yeah.
Right? He took this thing that men started doing of all sexual orientations. They started painting their nails, doing their nails. And he took that and ran with it in a way that tried to make him seem like he was like maybe embracing some sort of femininity, but really it was simply narcissism and simply decorating himself and just for attention. And I feel like a lot of the times with feminine things that masculine men can take on, that happens a lot. A lot of shitty men take it and try to repurpose it
and
use it in this way, to distract from how terrible they are. This happens a lot.
God. Yeah, Tom and the nails. I also think of what was that guy from Perfect Match? What do you say? The black guy, the punk rock black guy.
Oh my God, Dom.
The
worst.
Like also the nail painting, but like he was like an emotional emo guy, but also he was just like a piece of shit.
He was garbage. Yeah.
Just garbage and a fucking weirdo. Like but
and a fuckboy. At the end of the day,
at the end of the day, like he just cried. He was just able to cry more easily than like a lot of guys, and that was like really it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just interesting. Like I can sit here and just be like, I'm a tomboy, this, that, and like everyone can accept it as truth and fact and like not see anything about it. But a guy having this exact same monologue I just had, so much preconceived, undercover biases, judgments, and just really shows you how femininity is very much like stomped out of men because it's not championed in them hardly ever.
Or in life, we're still behind. We're still seen as like the weaker sex, so it's still not acceptable.
It's not a good thing necessarily.
It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. So Carrie dates a bisexual man and chalks a lot of her discomfort up to her age. What did you make of that?
Yeah, that was a 2000 thing when like 33 was like devastatingly old.
Yeah.
You know, it's so old you can't learn anything new. Like that's pretty absurd.
Yeah.
I think that has been thrown out the window now. I think about how much our moms have learned from us, and they're in their 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Like there's no real excuse that you can't be like, I'm too old. I don't do that anymore. Like I don't accept that anymore.
Yeah. I think, our parents are learning, I would say. I don't know if
learning,
learn necessarily. Yeah. I think like Gen Z is like the most as they say, the most like progressive, self-expressive, like liberal thinking. I mean, aside from the young men, I think the young men are like skewing conservative now.
They are on such opposite ends. That's the thing with the young people. They're real on these opposite ends, because I'm telling you about that Southern Baptist Church conference that I saw of those young ladies.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
The ladies are on there too.
There's always going to be the extremes that exist, or the sides that exist. But I think on large, by and large, Gen Z is supposed to be the more expressive, progressive thinking generation. And it's interesting, we're millennials, our parents are boomers, like we're all watching non-binary youth like have a voice. We are watching trans people have more representation than we've ever seen. I remember working at Columbia and literally saw all the time, like it wasn't a rare occurrence walking around campus to see what appeared to be a young man, like atomically male, walking around in a dress, makeup, heels, but also has like a mustache, just going to class and free as a bird. And sometimes I always wonder, I'm like, is that only happening at Columbia? Because Columbia is just
it is, girl,
historically very progressive, or New York City, because it's New York City. And maybe, this is not happening all over the place, but it was like not a thing at all, like around campus. And I think, to what I was saying before, like the boomers, they're learning, but they are, by and large, I think, very confused and very uncomfortable. I think they're trying, to do particularly if they've always thought of themselves as progressive and liberal, they're like, I know to be on the right side of history, it is to accept this.
Yes.
But they're like fucking confused and very uncomfortable. And I think Gen Xers, 40s and 50s, they are the parents of Gen Z or young Gen Z, and are figuring it out in real time. Like they're learning to call their kids or their kids' friends they, them. Like they are still messing up. They don't know I'm messing up shit. And they're kind of like learning. So I do think Carrie, attributing it to her age feels like a cop-out, but I do think it does to some extent have to do with age, or can have to do with age. And I think a lot of it also has to do with just like exposure, education, curiosity. That's what I was saying in the beginning with Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte, like being these modern New York women. Like I just think of modern New York women as a little bit more curious and open-minded than they present as like very small-minded and like narrow. Not to say they don't exist, but it just seemed weird to me. Like Carrie's like this downtown hip writer, but also it's like, what the fuck is this? Like
I know. That's what a lot of people get mad at, the term feminism. A lot of people get upset about it because a lot of people, like these four, are taking all of the benefits that all these women worked for, and shitting on anybody else who tries to get in on anything, right? Black people, femme people, like, and it's obviously they're living within a privilege bubble of whiteness at the end of the day.
And choosing to remain ignorant and not be curious as to like what's happening in the world,
Yeah.
And that's what like really annoyed me about this like smart writer character and this like smart lawyer and this other gallery owner who's literally in the arts of New York City. Like if anyone has more interaction with like the LGBTQ community, it's probably Charlotte.
It's Charlotte. Yes, that's why I thought about it. And just like that, I was like, oh, maybe it would be Charlotte who have
that's true.
Naturally occurring black friend. Maybe it would be her.
That is true.
But this makes me think of a really specific conversation, and this episode made me think of it, on The Real World season 12, my favorite all-time season. That is Las Vegas, first Vegas season.
Trishelle and Alton.
Trishelle, Steven, Alton. This is a specific conversation that went down between Alton and Steven, because Steven had a gay dad. And Steve, I remember Alton having a discussion with him about his gay dad and about how he was homophobic and all kinds of other like weird things were going on. And Alton said, I'm having these discussions with Steven, but I'm also recognizing, and Steven said this too, that I'm black and that's something I can't help. And Steven's dad is gay and he can't help it. And realizing the humanity of this gay man through his blackness was interesting. And it's something that I wish someone on this episode of Sex and the City could have done for these 4 women, but it was not a conversation back then because this was years after this episode was written.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is why it's important to watch reality TV, guys, and like learn from what we're watching. Because that conversation, I will never forget. It was really important.
Yes.
Between those 2 men.
The Real World and like literally the show The Real World like brought so many like conversations around social dynamics, race, gender, sexuality, masculinity, whatever the fuck, in ways that scripted TV like could never, honestly.
Yeah. Yes. Could never had the freedom to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't remember that from that season.
I remember it so clearly because I remember being like, oh my gosh. It's one of the talking points that you can always use when speaking to anyone of color about being homophobic. You can't help it. Neither can they. What do you do? How dare you sit over here and be homophobic? Like, what?
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And this episode kind of was disappointing in that aspect. Like, Kare's just like, I'm too old for this party. And
exactly.
Leaves, and then cut to credits. I was like,
what? They learned nothing. They learned nothing.
They learned nothing. Yeah. You got these little nuggets, dropped in. Interestingly enough, from the male characters, as I said, but then the women kind of just like close the chapter on this book onto like another new adventure next episode. Like, what?
Yeah.
Very crazy. And that's what as I said, what was frustrating about Carrie is, and all the characters, is like there takes a level of curiosity, right? She's just like, I'm old, I won't get it. And it's like we're literally watching our parents like trying to figure out this they them pronouns. This is new. They have no idea what this is. It's being introduced to them and they're trying to figure it out, but there's that curiosity there to like try to do better or try to understand the experiences of a group of people they don't understand.
Yeah, and accepting, right? Accepting those people's humanity and be like, okay, I respect your humanity.
Right. What do I need to do, or what can I do different? Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Miranda and Steve and this whole moving in situation. So she's struggling with Steve. He's getting very comfortable in this apartment. She bought this apartment. He says, we're practically living together. Let's just move in. I do want to talk first of all about just like New York. New York is just a very unique place as far as people moving in, and we all know people who've moved in a lot faster than normal, probably.
Yeah.
Simply because of rent.
Yes, and the lease is up, and we got to resign.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
What are we doing?
My boyfriend or not? What are we doing?
Please write in the comments if this is happening. Like, is it just the house? Is it New York? Is a crazy place. And obviously, we're like very like New York centered in our head. But like, is it like if you're in a city with just a crazy housing market, a super expensive housing market,
San Francisco, Seattle, whatever. Yeah,
this must, I guess, be happening other places. Really, it'd be like that. Like, so we doing this or not? Good. I gotta sign my lease, and finding this apartment was great. Even that, like finding a gem of an apartment.
Oh my god,
I'm not giving this up. Like, you moving on or will we
yeah.
Is
rent stabilized?
Right. Yes. I'm not giving this up. So what we doing? Like, no. That's so crazy.
Oh my god.
That was really great. And people are making like life decisions based around just like the economics of a fucking city. Like,
yes.
Oh Lord. Anyways, I wanted to talk about a little story time. Like, what was your moving in story with French? Remind us, how did you guys arrive at moving in?
Yeah.
Did you relate to Miranda and Steve at all? Or like, what what let you know also that you guys were ready to move in? Because Miranda feels very unready. And Steve
Yeah.
seems they're like on different pages.
Yeah. He had to move out because his lease was up and his brother's moving to LA for a job. So he had to find
Right.
somewhere
They were together.
so fast. And it was
Yeah.
not going to be my apartment because first of all, my apartment was for one person.
Yeah.
Second of all, my lease like wasn't up and like we couldn't do it. We couldn't figure out the thing. So I had to help him move into Jersey City, which at the time was taking bids on rent. Like that's how crazy it got.
Oh my God.
People were like, "No, I'll pay $2,800 for a $2,500
Yeah.
apartment." Like it was
Oh my
bad.
God.
Yeah.
Bids.
Yeah.
Like a house, like you're buying a house, like you're putting in
Yeah.
an offer, but for an apartment. Wow.
For an apartment.
A rental. Yeah.
And then, so we found him his apartment. It was absolute trash, but he had to live somewhere. And it wasn't more trash than living in my house because I could only do a full bed in my apartment, in my thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
that was not gonna fucking work with his big self and my
Yeah.
big ass. Right. It was not gonna work. So we spent a little while far away because Jersey City was very large.
Yeah.
He signed a 14-month lease, not even a 12-month lease.
Oh,
So they trapped him into a 14-month lease. And then we had to look for a place together. And by that time, you guys, I have to tell you, Jersey City, at that time, we were looking for a 2-bedroom or something that was at least 1,000 square feet. It was at minimum, the minimum that we could look for to move in, put a deposit down, and I guess sign the lease. It was a minimum of $11,000.
What the fuck is that? Is that first, last, and
First, last, and deposit and broker's
and the
fee.
deposit and the broker's fee? Jeez.
And the broker's fee.
Insane.
It was 11. That was the cheapest
That you could find.
we could find.
And people are bidding at the same time.
And I don't think people are bidding anymore.
No,
that was
during
14
process.
months later.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, that's the minute, which is absurd to pay 5 figures to rent anywhere with not an amenity to be seen, nigga.
Right.
Okay? This is like somebody's house that they split in half. Okay.
Oh my God.
And I was paying less than $2,000 a month to live in my little apartment with my nice like balcony and like really close to the path and like really nice.
So nice. Yeah.
It was such a nice like single girl Carrie type of like little apartment. It was devastating giving that shit up, bro.
I know. That was such a cute place. And you moved in during COVID.
During COVID, yeah.
Which was like also like you just went through so much in that space and came out of so much and into this new, abundant life, you crunch, just you being like good with you and yeah, just like letting that go. I'm sure it was really tough.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And it was a lot to give up Jersey City. We could not afford to live there anymore.
Yeah.
It was absolutely asinine. Like it was so bad.
It's just bad. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what are people doing? Like people are just sticking. People are just staying.
Yeah.
People are just staying where they're at. I know people who are in studio apartments with multiple pets, with kids on the way, because they cannot afford to move anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to get a piece of this goddamn wealth and nobody's sharing.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard.
That's really what it is.
So hard. But anyways, now we're here. We're happy in the town that we're at.
Yeah.
But it was hard. It was a hard adjustment. Yours was crazy as well. Yours was nuts.
Yeah. And we also, we both went through the COVID played such a role, I think, in like both of our. It's so crazy. We're 5 years post
living together.
No, COVID. I'm just saying. Well, I've been living with him for 5 years now. Yeah. But just think like COVID. It's 5 years since COVID. Like it just. Sorry, just mind.
Not that long.
Not that long.
It really
though.
doesn't feel that long.
No. Oh my goodness. But anyways, I was living in a 1-bedroom in Harlem, living my best introverted life. Nate was living in a 4-bedroom apartment in like South Williamsburg, 3 other guys. So like Animal House. And it was 4 of them total, but there was always like somebody on the couch. It was like always activity happening. Really nice apartment. He had the biggest room, so it wasn't like truly Animal House. I mean, the fact that it was just like guys, like a ton of guys just like living on top of each other. But yeah, we both loved in the beginning having our own spaces. Like we both loved visiting the other person's apartment for like a different reason. Like I liked going to his because there's like always somewhere there to talk to, and like they were dating, or some had girlfriends. I'm like helping this guy with his Hinge profile. I'm getting like the tea on this other thing. Like I just love being in the mix, because also like my whole life is like girlfriends. So like now I have like this whole world of like guys. And great guys. Like I love all of Nate's friends. And then he would come to my place and it was like, oh, an oasis. Like,
yes.
A respite.
Yeah, it was.
Quiet space. Like
Plants.
Just me.
Just you. Yeah.
Yeah.
New neighborhood.
People. Yeah, new neighborhood. And so yeah, we both loved that experience. And then we did COVID quarantine together, 5 weeks in my apartment in Harlem. And we had the best time ever. Like we played house and like lived together essentially, for like damn near 2 months, it felt like, and just had a blast. And his lease was up that October. So it was October 2020. And one of his roommates had already moved out to move in with his girlfriend. And they're a couple that's like very parallel to us. Like they started dating right before us. They're around our same age. We got married around like the same time. Like we kind of always did things the same route. So he moved out to live with his girlfriend. And it was just like the next thing that was gonna happen is Nate was gonna move in with me, or like we were gonna be the next. He was gonna be the next guy to move out to be with his long-term girlfriend. And yeah, it just like was never an option that he was gonna like find another place with the guys. It was just like obviously I'm coming to Harlem, or we're gonna get our own place. But I remember we were at K Paul's, rest in peace, in New Orleans.
So much went down in there that's gone as well. That's another place. Like I walk by, I'm like, man, that's really gone.
That's gone, bitch. That shit left. Like early COVID, that shit got closed down.
April.
Early COVID.
They run on paycheck to paycheck over at
paycheck to paycheck. The debt was crazy. They couldn't survive, and it never came back. So I would never get K-Paul. Never came back.
Me either, because they have seasonings in the store.
Right. So where is the money? But that's how you know how much. That's what I said. They're bankrupt. Like they are in the hole. Them seasons they've been making money, bitch. That shit is paying off. Like old debt. Like oh my god, that's so sad. Anyways, we were in K Paul's like 2019. It's like right before it closed.
Yeah.
And that was the first time the conversation of us moving in together came up. They and I started dating January 2019. So this was like
oh wow,
months into
August
dating.
2019?
I remember when we went to COVID, went to New Orleans that first time. I want to say it was summer, because when I think back those pictures, it was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
So I think it was like summertime.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were together for 6 to 8 months at that point, and we already brought it up, but it would be for that next year. So it was like my lease. He was saying his lease is going to be up next year. I want to, we want to do something, move in together. And so that was nice too. Like it wasn't a rush. Like we knew that was the next step that was coming, but we kind of still had another year to like do our thing. And then we did COVID together, and it was like, oh great, we got to like test like living together. It was like a blast. And then I feel like we kind of always we're very much on a conventional path, right? Moving together. We were always on a straight line to engagement, marriage. Like we knew we were each other's people. We're going to do the thing. And him signing up to live with his boys would have been like a diversion from that path. It would have been an odd diversion from that path. So yeah, we did it. It was definitely very tough in the beginning because it was still like COVID.
Still locked down.
Still locked down. I also was living in a 1-bedroom that was very much my apartment, very much made for one person. And so I had to make room for another person and all their stuff in a 1-bedroom that was already pretty filled. We were running a nonprofit at the same time. We were both working from home. We were living on top of each other. Like it was fucking crazy town. But it was never like hearing Steve be like, we're already living with each other, we might as well. Like
that sounds like he doesn't have a place to live.
He
did though.
But he did. We saw his apartment.
But it sounded like maybe his lease was up.
Lease was up, or he didn't want to be there. I don't know.
He just or maybe he didn't want to be
her
there, maybe.
space. So Yeah, it was never that, which I appreciate because Nate definitely loved my apartment, loved the getaway, but also loved his life in Williamsburg. Like there was not like a rush for either of us, which was nice for like a New York City moving in with each other kind of story. We didn't have to do the fuck, what do? We gotta rush. Like we wouldn't have to do that, which was nice. Yeah, watching Miranda and Steve, like you see Miranda like is very resistant to like golden retriever Steve, who like just wants to move in. Like, come on, like he just wants to move in, right? It's not a big deal, Miranda, get it together.
Yeah, and you're a woman. Aren't you desperate for Amanda? Want you? And move into your house.
And move in.
And
what you
get you
dreamed of.
Like, yeah.
And I think really what she wanted, she was like, I just want this to like be an intentional conversation that we do. Feel mutual, right. Which is not a lot to ask, particularly since she owns the apartment.
You know what I'm saying?
He's moving into her space. Like I can imagine if Nate was like, well, I'm here all the time, I just move in. Like what?
That just feels
it's not fair.
And it feels so unattractive.
Yeah, because it feels desperate. Like,
right?
You need a place to stay. You need this roof over your head.
Like how you were talking about Nate loved his life in Williamsburg and his apartment and shit like that. Like it's even loving your independence of just having your own place to live. And your own like key to turn and your own restaurants and your own places to, like. And Steve said, "Oh no, what? I like your Chinese food place. No, I like your couch. No, I like your pajamas. What?
Oh my god, yeah,
that's so unattractive.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And I think that's all Miranda wanted was just like a conversation. Like she just this whole I'm here anyways. And just very casual about it. This isn't a casual thing. Like we're taking a major step.
Yes.
You know, when you move in with your partner, you're kind of not wanting to move out from them. This is it. We're gonna live together forever.
Like, and this for her, you're signing up to do what? Pay half her mortgage?
Right.
Sometimes most of the time you're mutually in it, right? You both sign off on this lease.
Right.
You're both renting this place for a certain amount of time. This is all on her.
She owns this place.
You don't pay, it's still on her. Like that's a huge decision for her to make, and it's a huge decision for him to make just because he feels cozy.
Right. Right. And yeah, I don't think it was fair either when he was like, he like stormed off like you're such a guy, like you're sometimes the guy in this scenario, whatever. Like that felt very steeped in like his own insecurities of like always feeling like the needy kind of clingy one in their dynamic, and Miranda kind of like she needs him. They always play this dynamic where like she like falls apart and then she's like, I do need Steve. Like it's the same thing like with Miranda. But which is true. Like she doesn't to some extent need him. Like she bought this apartment on her own. But I hated that where he was like, you're just like the guy, and it's like, sorry that I want to like not treat this casually. You moving into my place overnight, like you staying here sometimes out the week is one thing. You moving in, that's a whole different thing. And we're not just gonna do it because you're kind of here all the time anyways. Like you know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think the last thing I had was Carrie. She didn't really advise Miranda, I thought, with this situation. She kind of was like, well, one person's the alpha dog in a relationship, and like that's just how it is. Like what did you make of her? What was that?
I think that can change like every day sometimes, right?
I think it depends on the domain, even like who is the alpha of that domain, right?
Yes, because like you are the alpha of decorating your house.
Right, the furnishing, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing Nate could say for you to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just do that. No. You're gonna look it up and like make sure it's like
exactly. Yeah, definitely the furnishing and like the social calendar, like owning that. Like,
could you imagine if he owned that? You'd be out all day.
Yeah, all the time, or we'd go nowhere because he also was
or you'd be hosting. Everybody would actually live at your house. Actually,
exactly. So that's where I would be the alpha, right? But then he has his domain. Same with like Miranda and Steve. Like she's not just the alpha overall. Like when it clearly she doesn't know how to cook, or she's like a mess with the cooking thing. Like she like
right.
That might be his domain, right? So yeah, Carrie was just being lazy in that scene, just like, oh yeah, it's just the alpha thing, whatever. So back to me and my problem. Like,
there she goes.
There she goes.
Oh, Carrie.
But yeah, that's all I got for this little episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I really would love to talk about the performance art of drag because that was the only good part about this episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Was how they portrayed portrayed drag as performance art, which I think is very useful, especially in times like these.
Yeah. I know.
Anyways.
Yeah. They didn't really do much with it though.
They did not. They did
really
not. They
didn't.
twisted it around and made it real weird, but
really weird. Yeah. And yeah, like Charlotte like found her mojo, kind of like dressing like a man. So you can only feel powerful if you're a man. Like
if you're a man,
weird undertones.
Yeah. And that's not like, I don't know. Well,
what did we learn this episode?
Oh my God, not much. The early 2000s were a mess is really what we learned. And you guys, the next episode that's coming, I already watched the next episode and I'm already apologizing for what's ahead. It's the bad one. It's the bad one.
Is this Miranda Samantha in Harlem?
It's the black episode.
It is.
Yep.
Damn. Season 3 is rough.
Season 3 is rough. That's a big commentary actually that I've seen around. Is like season 3 is rough.
It's rough. Really? That's a thing? Yeah. This is crazy. The black episode is next. Jeez.
The black episode is next.
Oh Lord.
So they must have got intact. I would love to actually, in between this time, look at the history of what happened to Sex and the City and the critical nature of Sex and the City, because it seems like they were criticized, and then they came back with some of these storylines.
Like season 2 and 1 not being like progressive enough or diverse enough or whatever the hell. And this was their answer to that cry.
Yes, that's what it seems like, right? Like Girls, like remember with Girls, like,
I know
nobody black was even in the background, then all of a sudden Christian Gambino was like, her boyfriend.
Yeah, and it was like back-to-back episodes of like obviously covering different topics. Like felt so force-fed.
Yeah. So this is season 3. So maybe I'll look that up. And see what the reception was.
Okay. I would love to know
because it was
rough. Yeah, didn't really learn much besides I think we're on a positive trajectory. Watching this episode and it feeling so dated and behind, I was like, oh wow, we have made some leaps and bounds considering how crazy these women look on TV with this whole episode.
And if you want to know the answers to the question for real, join us for the pre-show.
Yes, join us.
Big plug for the pre-show.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we will be back tomorrow, Thursday, for Love Island.
And Wednesday for what's it called, right? Ultimatum.
Wednesday. Oh shit, that starts. Oh my God, guys, we have a lot happening.
There's a lot of TV.
Great week. Yes, Dallas Cowboys posted yesterday on Patreon. This today, Ultimatum tomorrow, Love Island Thursday. Couples therapy finale Friday.
Oh my God. What? If you haven't joined the Patreon, what are you doing?
See you guys tomorrow.